Opinions expressed are those of the program host and guest and not WSTU. WSTU does not endorse any products mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU.
The Treasure Coast longest running local talk radio show is on the air. The Treasure Coast Forum. Get interested, get educated, get involved, and give us a call with your opinions at 220-9788. And here's your host of the Treasure Coast
Hey
Forum.
guys, you are listening to WSTU 1450 Treasure Coast Forum. I'm Amira Meehan, and I'm here with Mr. Frank Metzapelli.
I love it. Thank you so much for that very kind introduction. So you came prepared. You have a sheet already.
Oh no, I ain't prepared. I just have the sheet.
Yeah, printed out from your anthropology class.
Yeah.
All right.
But first.
Yes, but first. Okay.
I'm going to get you guys in a political mood.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Is there music associated with this? No.
Oh, yeah. Hold on.
There is.
There is music associated. 100%.
Because you know how I roll. I like associating music with most activities. Or sound bites.
Why is this not working?
I don't know. Technology. You have to love it, right?
Wait. Why is it not going? Do something.
So when you texted me the...
I think I got it.
Okay, go ahead.
Yo!
Hail to the chief.
I play this every time I have book club because I'm president of book club.
Oh, well done.
Yeah.
Okay, hail to the chief.
Yeah.
All right.
So, politics, Eagles, red, white, and blue.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Anyway,
All
so
right.
this is new. So as soon as I started school again, the disciplinary rules have gotten super strict. Why? Because there's a bunch of laws that have been passed over the summer. And one of them...
The state laws?
State laws.
Okay.
And one of them is that if a teacher is caught with TikTok in the class or at school or whatever, felony. So not even a misdemeanor. Going on TikTok as a teacher is a felony now. Up there with murder.
It's a app, correct?
Yeah. TikTok is a social media platform where people can post and create small little videos about whatever they want.
Not the small bite-sized candy.
Yeah, no. Small bite-sized chaos.
Okay. TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok.
Right.
It's called TikTok.
Which is the sound a clock makes.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Okay.
It's weird.
So that was one of the state rules.
Yeah.
That educators are not allowed to have that on their device.
Yeah.
Do you know why?
Here's the thing. Now, number one, a lot of people will say, because TikTok is disrupted to the classroom and learning, and TikTok is supposedly dangerous because of it being stationed in China and all this stuff and the things you could spread on there and kids going on it and getting brainwashed or literally just losing their minds because they're just scrolling all day long. But really, there's another way of thinking about this. And when we go back to that dictator's handbook I referred to about how democracy and autocracies are one and the same when it comes to how the methods that they try to achieve in order to secure power. One of them is create as many interchangeables as possible, where we have as many people who have no say in the government. That's a great way to hold power. So one of them is restricting the right to vote. Now, if we've opened up a new window for a lot of people to get felonies, because it's very easy to go on TikTok in school. If a bunch of people get charged with a felony, that's jail time for going on TikTok at a school. You can't vote anymore. So now you have a whole new percentage of people who are later going to lose their right to vote, which again expands interchangeables. Exactly what Kim Jong-un does. So, I don't know. Sketchy.
Okay.
Because I don't think it should definitely not be allowed, but it shouldn't be a felony. Like, that's a little crazy.
Over
the top. Exactly. It should be just a misdemeanor, or the teacher gets fired, or there's like a district type of hearing, not jail time. That's a little severe for just going on your phone on TikTok. So
All right.
yeah,
So that might get sorted out in the courts.
maybe
That might
hopefully,
get challenged.
hopefully,
Yeah,
because
okay.
felony is a bit that's harsh.
Okay.
So in that, in my first period class, I take IB anthropology. We were introduced to this anthropological document that was written by this guy named Horace Minor in the University of Michigan in 1956, and it's called "Body Ritual Among the Nasarima." Okay, Nacirema, Nasarima.
All right.
Okay. So at first it talks about how this is like a tribe in North America or a people in North America
Mm.
who they have economic beliefs that are capitalist. So when they're usually doing free market stuff, and when they're not in their economic pursuits, they focus on body rituals. So they view the body as like unholy and messed up. So they have these shrines, and procreation and sex is like taboo.
Ah,
And
so
yeah,
it's obviously a group that doesn't grow.
kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
think about it.
Right.
But they still do it anyway. But what's weird about them is that their way of worshiping is torturing themselves,
Mm.
worshiping their gods to fix their bodies. So there'll be these mouthmen. They pay these mouthmen to go inside their teeth, drill holes, and put
Mm.
magic inside. Like some magic is probably some toxic chemicals or whatever
Mm.
to like clean their mouth, because they're very big about talking and mouth stuff, which is weird.
Mm.
And then women, there's a big gender gap. Women stuff their heads in ovens a lot of times.
To
They just do it to cleanse whatever. The bodies
right.
are unholy. We should punish the bodies.
Mm.
Then there's not just holy mouthmen, but when people, what's crazy though is that the holy mouthmen, they're not just like normal priests. They get paid.
Ah.
You pay the holy mouthmen before they torture you, and then after they torture you, you pay them again,
Oh.
and they get handsome gifts.
Okay.
Another thing, also with women, there's a huge mammary problem where they're like, if the mammary's too big, they have to get them small. Mammary's too small, they have to get them big. But then at the same time, if the mammary is way too big, it's perfect, and people pay other people to watch the big hyper mammary woman. And I know it's very hypocritical. That's very hypocritical.
Right.
Another thing is when people are about to die or they're sick or whatever, they go to a place called a latipso, and it's like this cave, and there's a bunch of these scary doctor people, and kids are afraid to go because they think they'll die there, and the
Right.
doctor people give them a whole new set of torture, like very, very harsh torture, and of
Wow.
course they get paid before the torture,
Of course.
and then if the people survive or if they die, whatever, they get paid after the torture. So it's crazy that these people exist, but what's even crazier is that the Nasarima is American backwards. Nacirema. That's backwards for American. The Nasarima aren't exactly real people. This is a satirical analysis of the American people, not a foreign culture. So it's like this guy, Horace Minor, was like, what if I was an alien and I was an alien anthropologist and I was studying Americans and I had to write a paper on it? This is what he wrote. And it makes sense. The capitalism, the whole let's pay our torturers or whatever, the Latipso, again, that whole hospital place where people just get more tortured and stuff, that's backwards. It's hospital, literally hospital without H. So it's a hospital, like the very expensive healthcare right there. The women shoving their head in ovens. Remember, this was published in 1956. So women's respected to be housewives and stuff.
Right.
Then, of course, like the kids being afraid to go to the mouthmen. That's like the kids being afraid to go to the dentist, kind of.
Right.
What else? Well, like people at the same time seeing sex as taboo, but at the same time also indulging in crazy sex stuff at the same time, being
Right.
masochistic and whatever. That hypocrisy, that's also present in the American society.
Right.
The whole we pay our torturers and they get paid and all that crap really shows how people who are in power, because they kind of worship the torturers as well. The people in power are corrupt and they just use us for their own benefit. Because at first, she didn't reveal to us that these were the American people in class. So at first, I said, I see myself in these people because of ourselves, like the American people. because it kind of seems like the whatchamacall mouth men. They probably know that this whole body torture thing is BS, but they're just doing it to make money off of dumb people. That's what it sounds like. They just sound like scammers. So it was very American to be a foreign culture, and that was exactly on point. It was too American to be a foreign culture. There's another one of these interesting articles that was published the same way. It's tourist in backwards. It's Astora or whatever. I haven't read that one yet. We haven't gotten that one yet. But when we do, if you like this stuff,
Yeah.
I'll come back with that.
With more to come.
Yeah.
Nice.
Pretty cool. I love the plot twist.
Right.
Yeah.
So Nasarima
Mm-hmm.
is American backwards.
Yep.
Got it. All right.
Because we are backwards.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, okay. All right. And so a little bit of Madison Avenue there with the whole body worshiping aspect. Okay. Yeah, I can track with that.
Another crazy thing.
Yes.
Over the summer, we had to read a book called The Road by Cormac McCarthy. He died over the summer while we were reading it, which was
Well,
crazy.
that's not good.
Yeah, that's not that's sad. He was old though.
Oh, well, that makes it okay, right?
No.
I'm sure he
Well,
would disagree.
I think he was like 90 something.
Okay.
But he wrote this really depressing book. I'm surprised he didn't die while writing this. It was such a
Really?
depressing,
A downer,
very
huh?
bleak book. So it's basically, I think it was written in the 90s or the early 2000s. It's a post-apocalyptic world, so we dropped the nukes. That just happened. So we dropped the nukes, and then it's a post-apocalyptic world, and it follows his dad and his son, and they just try to survive and crap. There's a lot of biblical references and allusions, which made it hard to read a little bit. It's a very white guy book. I feel like white dudes would enjoy it. I don't know why. It's just it was super white dude.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I remember there was this crazy spoilers for the book. If you actually want to read this crazy book,
Yes.
don't listen to the next few things I'm gonna say.
Oh, okay.
So spoiler alert. I'll give you 3 seconds.
Fingers in your go, no, like that. Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
Spoiler warning.
Yeah.
One last chance.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, go.
There was this crazy scene.
Yeah.
So basically, society and civilization has regressed to being, the moral compasses are really rudimentary now. Everyone's going back to making decisions based on their penis urges or evolutionary urges. Yeah, that type of stuff.
Oof.
So the dad observes these random people on the highway. Of course, he doesn't approach them because no one's safe. And one of them is a pregnant lady. Next day they wake up. He sees the people leave. He goes to the campsite and he sees an infant on a stick
Oof.
above a fire. They ate it
Oof.
because they're cannibals.
Ugh.
Ugh, I know. But that's evil, but they weren't really evil effectively because, they could have gotten more meat if they killed the pregnant lady before the baby came out.
Right.
And they ate the lady and the baby inside. But I guess they wanted a meal every 9 months guarantee.
Oh.
So, yeah, that part of the book was insane.
Oof.
But like amongst the book bans, this really, really shows me how much when Congress or the districts or states, when they decided to ban books in schools, they didn't actually read the books that they were banning because this book is not banned. And this has an infant on a spew being eaten by people. It's very, very morbid, very, very disgusting. Whereas a book like To Kill a Mockingbird, where the worst thing that happens is someone says the N-word, that's banned.
The book is banned?
It's just highly advised not to read. I think it is. I think it is banned. I think
it's it should be still available.
Is To Kill in schools, like your teacher can't.
Yes.
To Kill a Mockingbird banned in schools. Florida banned To Kill a Mockingbird. Oh, it was a claim.
Yeah.
We're not.
No, I don't believe so.
Books banned by Florida schools.
Yeah.
Let's just go.
All right.
There's 350 plus books. The Fault in Our Stars was banned. That's like no one wants to read that anyway. Hold on.
Okay.
Trying to find a list.
All right.
There's A Day in the Life of Marlon Brando. That's banned in Broward County.
Okay. So these are not statewide bans. These
The
are
Kite Runner was banned in Broward County. I don't know what's bad about the Kite Runner. I thought it was a good idea to write that book. Like, I mean, these books, they're definitely not as morbid as The Road. And The Road, these are banned, but The Road is not. That's insane. Yeah, there's one where it's like a teen's guide to sex. Of course, that's a graphic novel of a teen's guide to sex. Yeah, of course, that's gone.
yes. Well, there's no reason for that.
Yeah. There are a bunch of titles I never heard of. Oh, Beloved by Toni Morrison. I think that's like one of the classics. A lot of classics are banned. Except the Greek ones. I think the Greek ones are still around, even though the Greek one has... It's crazy. The Greek ones have way more mature stuff than other books. Like, I'm pretty sure Marlon Brando's life story, whatever, is nowhere near as weird as Oedipus marrying his mom, having kids with his mom, and killing his dad. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we had to read the Oedipus
Oedipus
thing.
Rex, yes.
We were able to read that.
Mm.
So I still don't understand the logic behind all these book bannings. Some of them make sense, but a lot of them don't at the same time. Same thing about the AP psychology class ban. They tried to ban that class because there was one instance or one little unit. It wasn't even like a whole unit. There's one little category where we talk about estrogen and testosterone because that affects how you think.
It's true.
And we talked about like menopause and just the period and, women's periods and menstruation. That was it. And they banned it because they just saw gender material. They didn't actually look into it. That's why they unbanned it now.
Yes, I would
but
say
like
that
you
would
should look into it before banning it. Don't ban it, then look into it. It's counterproductive.
Well, yeah. But I imagine there's a lot to sort through, to get things started, and then they would say, okay, on a case by case basis, let's look at things and bring things back, as appropriate. So sometimes there's probably a lot of information they have to sort through. They only have so many hours to get ready for each school year. So.
And IB Anthro has way more sensitive gender material. There's a whole gender unit where we observe gender in different cultures and societies,
right,
and stuff like that. But I don't think the state of Florida can touch IB because it's a global
program. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. So the interesting anthropological studies of South American tribes that have been isolated, those to me are the most fascinating studies because they are totally without outside influence when they run across these tribes. To me, that's really interesting to see how they
don't know what
organize, how they organize their whole system, of labor and hunting and childbearing and all that whole process. They had to come up with their own. There was no outside influence at all. So to me, that's a fascinating study. It kind of gives you a glimpse of what maybe ancient man would have looked like too. Yeah.
It's like time traveling, kind of.
Yeah, it's a glimpse into
it's
the
like
past.
National Geographic with the time machine.
Yeah, without the machine.
It's actually more of a time capsule.
Yeah.
It's pretty dope. Yeah, another really cool thing is how languages are so different. Like the way you know a language changes the way you perceive the world completely. Like in Eskimo language, is like 30 different words for snow because that's such a big part of their lives.
Right.
Whereas here we just say snow.
Right.
And then in Italy, there's like 10, 15 different words for love. When here we just say love.
Right. Amore.
Yeah.
Is love and
one of them.
Right.
But there's probably so many more. So it's really cool how a language and the way you characterize things just change everything.
Right.
The way you see everything. Because I'm pretty sure Eskimos don't really have many words for lava.
Yeah. Probably don't even know what that is, right? Melted rock.
Yeah.
Right.
They might not know what mosquito is either.
Actually, they
Right.
probably do.
They do? There's mosquitoes in there?
They do have mosquitoes. In Alaska has a pretty substantial mosquito population.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They
So
might call it snow bug, though.
they could. Yeah. Yeah.
So then it's, the snow comes back and it's just a snow thing again.
Yeah. Interesting. So what do you think of this big heat bubble that the country has been under for a while?
Well, there
Have you
was
been
one
following
last
this?
year, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Was it as bad? Is this one just as bad or worse?
I don't know. I mean, it's difficult for me because when I watch the news or listen to the weather
Mhm.
reports, it's almost like every year they try to top the previous year. Their hair is always on fire about something or other
Mhm.
going on in the world. So it's for me, it's hard to judge. It seems to me it's always the same frantic
Yeah. It didn't
behavior.
hit Europe this time, though.
No, that's
Well,
good.
there was bad wildfires in Greece. I remember that.
Yes.
And roads.
Hmm. They had severe flooding in
Yeah.
China this year. So it's, the planet is not static. It's always changing.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was rather
Yeah, you don't
clever.
believe in global warming, do you?
I believe that man-made global warming, I do not believe in that. I believe the
Earth is doing it itself.
if it's just it could be a combination of the Earth's orbit, our proximity to the sun, our proximity to other planets. The sun's activity is on an 11-year cycle. A lot of people don't know
Do you believe
that.
that maybe man's facilitating global warming? A little
No,
bit
I
in
think
any
we're
way?
bit players. So if yeah, no, I don't think do we probably do some things that are probably not best? Sure. Can we do things better? Absolutely. Does it make a difference in the big analysis?
No.
Probably not.
It just makes us feel better.
Right.
That's nice.
Yes. Yeah. But that's just me personally from my 30,000 foot view looking down. I just don't.
You that tall?
I try to kind of take a global look.
Oh, your
Right.
brain goes that tall.
Right. Yeah. Try to look at things from a higher elevation. I'm trying to take it all in from a higher. So, my wife likes to refer to the expression, she calls it a frog in a well. So the frog inside a well only knows the world from the confines of that well. And that, I think that's pretty good analysis. I think most people are frogs in the well.
I feel like most people are just slugs in a hole.
Okay.
Frog in a well is just, I feel bad for the frog. We should save the frog.
Right.
But then if it's a slug in a hole,
Well,
that's where the slug belongs.
death to the slug. Yes.
I'm not that pessimistic.
Okay.
I would still help the slug.
Okay. All right. Let's see if we can find Rocky and Bullwinkle. And then we've got some news to can we? Oh, there it is. All right. You want to toss it to Rocky and Bullwinkle?
Tossing it to Rocky and Bullwinkle.
All right.
And now,
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
again,
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto!
wrong hat.
I take a 7.5.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
chill me with shivers of joy.
All
That's
right.
my favorite one, probably.
Okay. Very good. I did that just for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So
That was Charlie My Boy by the Andrews Sisters.
thank you. And so I wanted to play a couple of minutes from last night,
Mm-hmm.
Fox News,
Oh, yeah.
and we can talk about the presidential candidates and see what you thought. Did you get a chance to watch the
No,
debate?
I haven't watched it yet. I recorded it
Okay. Oh, good.
because I have a bedtime because it's school.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Understood. Because it was on late.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
Welcome to the first debate of the 2024 presidential campaign, live at Fiserv Forum in Milwaukee.
This decline is not inevitable. It's a choice. We need to send Joe Biden back to his basement and reverse American decline.
Joe Biden has weakened this country at home and abroad. Now is not the time for on-the-job training. We don't need to bring in a rookie. We don't need to bring in people without experience. We need to bring
Let us be honest as Republicans. I'm the only person on the stage who isn't bought and paid for, so I can say this. The climate change agenda is a hoax. The climate change agenda is a hoax. And we have to declare independence for it.
I've had enough already tonight of a guy who sounds like ChatGPT standing up here. And the last person in one of these debates, Brett, who stood in the middle of the stage and said, "What's a skinny guy with an odd last name doing up here?" was Barack Obama. And I'm afraid we're dealing with the same type of amateur standing on stage tonight.
I am unapologetically pro-life, not because the Republican Party tells me to be, but because my husband was adopted and I had trouble having both of my children. So I'm surrounded by blessings. When it comes to a federal ban, let's be honest with the American people and say it will take 60 Senate votes. It will take a majority of the House. So in order to do that, let's find consensus.
To be honest with you, Nikki, you're my friend, but consensus is the opposite of leadership. When the Supreme Court returned this question to the American people, they didn't just send it to the states only. It's not a states only issue. It's a moral issue.
Don't make women feel like they have to decide on this issue when you know we don't have 60 Senate votes in the House.
70% of the American people support legislation
But
to ban
70% of
abortion
the
after
Senate
a baby is
does
capable
not.
of experiencing pain.
If former President Trump is convicted in a court of law, would you still support him as your party's choice? Please raise your hand if you would.
And all the candidates.
Whether or not you believe that the criminal charges are right or wrong, the conduct is beneath the office of President of the United States.
I chose the Constitution, and I always will. I had no
Vice
right to
President Pence.
overturn the election, and Kamala Harris will have no right to overturn the election when we beat them in 2024.
Thank you.
All right. So that's just a kind of a
Some of them, like most politicians, speak without dignity.
yeah.
We're like, oh, skinny guy with a weird name talks like Chat GPT. Like, dude, you're supposed to be the best of us.
Right.
Could they
Well-
stop talking like the worst of us? I wish. I mean, I totally get it if he wants to talk dissent, have a dissenting opinion, but could you at least be more professional?
Right. Well, he's from New Jersey. They don't do professional.
Oh my God. But he's supposed to be, he wants to run for
Right,
president.
right.
Presidents are supposed to do professional.
Right. Yes, I agree. But anyways, the whole idea is to separate themselves from the
Who's the
from-
bigger a-hole?
Well, that's another way to look at it,
Mhm.
just to get some attention. And it's really about the donors class. So people that have money to spend on the candidates look at these people on the stage and they decide from their performance who's worth a look at,
Mhm.
and that's
So there's money in that?
oh, there's money.
Oh my God.
it's
Of
always-
course they're going to be up there talking their brains out. They
Right.
don't even have brains, sorry. Talking whatever empty spaces in their, like they're just letting air in
Right.
their empty heads.
Right. So
Dang.
you got it.
Corruption.
Well, it's it takes a lot of money to run a campaign, so they have to kind of thread the needle,
Well, that's the thing with Donald Trump. He's already a billionaire, so he
Right.
doesn't really need these people
Right.
to give him
And
money. So if he
Ramas-
does do something or say something, it's because he probably means it.
and that's what Ramaswamy was. That was his point when he, the
Yeah.
comment he made is that he's the only candidate that's really self-funding.
Yeah.
He is taking donations from the public at large that want to
Uh-huh.
can donate to his campaign, but they're
Uh-huh.
generally considered small donations. The big
Right.
donors are not coming to him because, and quite frankly, he doesn't need it.
He's wealthy.
And extremely wealthy,
Mhm.
and he's started several multi-million-dollar businesses, so
Yeah.
he's doing pretty well.
Yeah.
And and he's pretty interesting. He's talking about eliminating many of the federal departments, FBI being one of them, just eliminating them altogether. And
What was his reasoning?
corruption from within. No,
Then what are we gonna have to substitute? Because we need some sort
right.
of.
So there are many other federal agencies like the U.S. Marshals and the Secret Service, and so what he's envisioning is that the FBI would be absorbed into some of the other agencies.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And just the upper management of the FBI just would go away,
Mhm.
and so that's kind of so he has some interesting thoughts about some of the agencies.
He doesn't like the climate change stuff.
Him and I are in full agreement on that,
Mhm.
because what the climate change stuff does is it puts the United States at a very difficult position for doing manufacturing. So in the United States, it says, okay, well, we're going to lower emissions. We're going to do all these different things. And they do that at a higher cost of production.
Yeah.
So fine, but no other country is being held. So countries such as China, countries such as India, for example, don't sign on to the same treaties.
Mhm.
And so they can do the pollution that they need and still they could be more than competitive because they don't have to do all the difficult things that the US is doing.
I think private companies should be able to just decide for themselves what
Right.
they want to do.
Right. But it should meet a global standard. Then they should establish through the United Nations or some
But
sort.
then, there's no way of knowing if everyone else is going to make their end of the cut or they're going to make the effort to make their end of the cut.
Right. But so that's the idea. So not everybody is playing from the same hand. And so the United States, we say, okay, we're, bigger, more powerful, and all that. But the problem is when you put your hands behind your back, you can't fight. You cannot move forward. And there's no reason to put ourselves in a deficit situation when we used to be energy independent, no more now. That was done by the stroke of a pen by our most recent president, current president. And so what do we do? Moving forward in a smart way makes more sense rather than trying to say, oh, well, we want to go electric cars. Great. But now you need an infrastructure to make those electric cars work. We don't have that. So, but we have infrastructure to make, internal combustion engines.
There are
work.
more electric cars being made, though. I'm seeing
Correct.
charging stations and all that stuff.
Correct. But there's not enough infrastructure to make a big changeover.
Yeah.
So people are going to be standing in line, and when you do, it's going to cost more per mile to drive your electric car than it does to run a gasoline powered car. So why would you want to do that and you have to create more pollution to produce the electric vehicle in the first place?
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
and they don't have any recycling set up for the batteries.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem. They should already have an infrastructure for that.
Mm-hmm.
Not there.
It could have been like you could have one battery, but you just keep recharging, kind of like your phone. Your phone doesn't explode
Right.
whenever you charge it or
Right.
whatever. Should have done more conservative batteries, then more pricey.
Right.
Yeah. So there's even the people who claim that they're doing stuff for climate change are still greedy for
Correct.
money.
Most of the people they're promoting the climate change, they're making money on the climate change.
Climate change. If
Right.
anyone's promoting climate change, they're selling something anyway.
Correct.
Yeah.
Like solar panels or
Anyone promoting anything is selling something.
right. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very good. You got it. You passed the class.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to take our last time out and we'll be right back. So stick with us.
Really rotten we can do today.
I'm thinking, but the worst I come up with is helping to make Moose and Squirrel show 1 hour longer.
So, just like you, darling, always trying to help others get a little more pain out of life.
Then suddenly a
Okay. Welcome back. You're listening to Treasure Coast Forum. And that's a small snippet from the best of Boris and Natasha. And that's from Rocky and the Flying Squirrel, Rocky and Bullwinkle show. The reason why I love Boris's voice there, because he sounds just like Prigozhin, the guy who died suddenly yesterday in a plane accident. He was flying along in
not an accident.
well, he was flying.
Well, they'll call it an accident.
He was in Russia. He was in northern Russia, flying along about 28,000 feet when suddenly the wing fell off because
The wing just fell off.
well, there was a
Was
rocket motor
it his
involved.
plane or did he rent it from someone?
It was a leased plane.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. There it is.
And it was a leased plane that a rocket seemed to impale the.
There's probably a tracking device, homing beacon on that plane.
No, just the heat signature. Some
Oh, okay.
rockets just need a
Mhm.
heat source to find. So, Yeah.
And this is the guy who wanted to raid Moscow, or whatever, and then changed his mind at the end,
Correct.
at the last moment, and
The
just
two-
said,
2
"I'm
months ago.
sorry."
Yeah, never mind. Yeah. And
Yeah.
they shook hands, and Putin says, "Yeah, no problem."
Why did he want to raid Moscow again?
Well, he wasn't happy, so he was tasked with the responsibility of taking a small village, a town called Bakhmut,
Mhm.
which in and of itself was not that strategically important, except for this an area that they just decided they were going to hang their hat on this space. And the Ukrainians just kept denying them the taking that land, that territory, for many months, many months. So the Wagner group, who Prigozhin is a group that Prigozhin and his partners, a mercenary group that are employed by the Russian government, said, okay, we'll take on this task. And they effectively were able to capture that town, where the Russian army was unable to. And so they got kind of full of themselves, and they decided to take a run on Moscow, because after they completed that, they were asked to, let the Russian army take over. And they weren't given any new marching orders as to where else to go, what to do. So they kind of bivouacked over in Belarus, neighboring satellite Russian country. But I guess I just don't have enough inside information to say anything other than the fact that Prigozhin thought at one point that he should just take a run at Moscow because he didn't like the way the Russian government was executing the war in Ukraine. That was his chief complaint. He didn't like the people that were supplying him and the Russian soldiers with war materials. So he decided to take a run at Moscow about 2 months ago, and then suddenly had a change of heart. They shot down about 6 Russian planes. There was some skirmish along the way. It didn't end well for the Russian pilots that were fighting this column going on its way up to Moscow. And they just said, yeah, never mind. And
they still stayed in Russia.
Well, they bivouacked and ended up being in Belarus.
I don't know why they went back to Russia.
Nobody really fully understands that, but there was a bunch of their private assets that were seized by the Russian government, so they got that sorted out, and everything was nice, cluck cluck.
If this raid guy is not as dumb as we think he is, but he probably is very dumb. But if he wasn't as dumb as we think he is, I think that maybe he didn't go back to Russia. He just faked his death. So
well,
the Russians
they
would
say
think
they
that he's gone.
they did collect all the bodies from that plane. There were 7 bodies that were.
How do we know
recovered.
it's not like Operation Mincemeat?
Well, tell us about that.
Operation Mincemeat. So back in World War II, British people came up with this amazing plan. Well, British people and the MI6, is it MI6
Yes.
or MI7?
Mhm.
MI6
Mhm.
Secret Service, that's their CIA.
Right.
So basically what they wanted to do is they created this fake guy. They came up with a whole story, everything. They took a random corpse that looked as clean as possible or whatever, and they dressed him up and they put plans or like documents they planted on his uniform saying that directions that they were going to attack a part of Greece or whatever, but they weren't actually going to go for it. So the plan was that the fake plane with the fake guy would be flying over. The Nazis will shoot it down. The Nazis will recover the body, and they will send all forces to the wrong area to make them vulnerable in the place.
Misdirection.
Where the
Okay.
British actually wanted to go. And it worked. Hitler ate it up.
Nice.
It was nice. So it worked. So what if this guy did a mincemeat? He mincemeated them.
Yeah.
What if he did that?
Could
That's
be.
what I would do if I
Yeah.
were him. But,
Yeah.
He's not me. He's dumb. Yeah.
Right. Interesting. Okay, well, that's a good story, and so and this is in the British historical record.
Yeah, there's even a Netflix movie on it with Colin Firth and Matthew McFadden, which the two Mr. Darcys, but they're all old and ugly now. So, oh no.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. I got excited at first, and I'm like, oh wait, it's not the '90s. I still watched it though.
Yeah.
It was still good.
yeah.
But yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool story. It's
All right.
crazy.
Okay. So we got a couple minutes here. The President Trump went to Georgia today to surrender to authorities in Georgia.
Surrender.
Yeah, so it's an arrest, surrender. So he was officially arrested.
It sounds like he was running away, and then he decided to stop running when you say the
No.
word surrender.
Right, but that's the technical way,
Mhm.
So they have an indictment, and in order for them,
Another one.
right, and for
What's
him,
this one on?
he was trying to manipulate the Georgia results on the presidential election.
Is there evidence for that claim?
13 charges, including racketeering in Georgia. So it's 13
It's
charges.
crazy that all these indictments are happening back to back all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And then we get this Georgia thing. It supposedly happened a long time ago,
Well,
like
it
a few years ago.
It happened at the on the election day.
Yeah, so they're just attacking. They're just coming up with stuff. They know he's a threat to become president again, so they're making stuff up.
Okay.
I'm not like defending him as in, oh, he's great. I'm pretty sure. I'm 100% certain that he sexually assaulted somebody at one point in his life.
But they're not even talking about that anymore.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
They forgot about that because it didn't
Right,
work
right.
as well as they wanted it to.
Right.
Right. But he definitely did stuff like that. But it doesn't make any sense that the person that he sexually assaulted, or one of them, would come out at that time. Like it's just too coincidental, and nothing is a coincidence. There's some sort of something afoot, some alternate agenda that they're hiding from everyone. There's another motive. She didn't do that because she wanted justice. She did
Right.
that because maybe someone paid her who doesn't want Trump to be president to F him up. And then they saw that indictment, and then they just dumped a bunch of other indictments when that one didn't work. So
Right.
yeah, that's what it looks like to me. He definitely an a-hole, but he's not a criminal.
Okay. So I'm trying to look at some of these other, the few minutes we have remaining here. Big tech collusion hearing. There was one on Capitol Hill. Americans, the Missouri versus Biden case, big tech collusion out of control. Government agencies to silence speech held by the Select Committee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government allowed Americans and lawmakers to learn more. More about how the administration state has attempted to make end runs around the Constitution to chill the outright censor and the free expression of Americans. All right. So that's a thing going on.
Could you like say it real fast in baby words?
In baby words. I'll send you the link.
Thank you.
Yeah. Then you can read it. But yeah. So that's Jim Jordan's little activity there.
Who's Jim Jordan?
He's congressman from Ohio.
Oh, okay.
I know his parents. His dad, John Jordan, was a customer of mine. I used to ship him varnishes. He was a bow maker. His dad, John.
A bow, like bows on
archery.
Like Minnie. Oh, okay. I thought you like Minnie Mouse bow on her head.
No.
Archery, bow and arrow.
Archery, yeah. So I
Oh,
sent him
that's pretty cool.
specialty varnish that you
Bow
would use.
maker. Is that like his career or hobby?
I think that was his career. He was,
Whoa.
but
Bow maker in the 21st century?
oh yeah, that's there's a big demand for what they call recurve bows that are traditional bows. So there's a whole group of people that just want to have a traditional archery experience when they go hunting, as opposed to just taking a big gun with you. And And it really gives the animals more of a fighting chance, right?
Also, the meat is better because there's no bullet in there.
Right.
It's not
Well,
messy.
yeah. Well, that's true too. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's really quite a science just to the bow making and all that. But yeah, so his dad is a professional bow maker. It's pretty cool.
In video games, I'm a pretty good archer. Like in
And I
any
got a
game.
chance to talk to Jim Jordan's mom a lot. She would place the varnish orders, and she'd say, "We're so proud of our Jimmy." So cute. I love it. Well, thanks for listening, and we'll be here next week right here on Treasure Coast Forum.
Bye, guys.
Bye.